a really great angle. Really great angle to go in at.
Well, I think sport is a great, is a great lever for everybody. It allows you to get rid of aggression, get rid of bad thoughts in any sport, not just football, but any sport allows you a release. Also, any bit of exercise does help your mental, your mental health, because you start to feel good about yourself. So and then obviously after sport, us non-professional people just win or lose, have a booze. So
yeah, exactly. Very true. Very true. But no, I agree. And that's, I think that the most important thing there is just like feeling good, right? Just feeling good about yourself. And I think whether you go and do 45 minutes on playing 5-a-side or 11-a-side game at the weekend or whatever, it's all about just sort of feeling nice and fresh afterwards, right?
Yeah, well, I don't do the football. I watch football. It's much more fun. I can abuse people from the side and take the mick out.
You can give people a bit of abuse, sir.
No. Just the referee.
I went live. Not that we've got many people.
No, I did see you go live, and I'm delighted.
But yeah. Anyway, I wanted to bring a little saying up today because I was having a think yesterday. I was quite happy. I exercised yesterday morning. I was like in a good mood, and we were off out for breakfast somewhere in the car, and I was talking to Amy, and I was like, what are you feeling like? Like, how are you feeling? Are you happy completely, or are you, what's your exact feelings right now? Do you know what I mean? And I was like, yeah, I'm happy, but I'm also like, ugh. Do you know what I mean? Like, like, what is your exact feeling in that moment right there? And I just thought, I'm happy. Like, I'm not moany about anything. I'm not pissed off about anything, but I just feel like, ugh. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
And I just wondered if that was like something everyone felt like, or, and I thought that's quite a good something to talk about. You know what I mean?
I think we spoke about this last week when people said, people ask, are we happy?
Yeah.
And I'm happy, but not all the time. And there are times that I'm happy that I actually really don't know why I'm happy. I'm just happy.
Yeah. I just thought like you in one moment right then, like I was just like blur. Like I didn't have the ump about anything, but I was just like,
I think it's like.
I think it's because I actually think it was because I was hungry, but I just was like kind of thinking how I think I feel every emotion quite strongly, whereas maybe other people don't. You know what I mean?
I think something that I've kind of started doing, and I think it's when you're feeling that blur and you're feeling good. I think it's always something I've started being a little bit more like aware of is like in that moment or in the moments leading up to it is taking like 2-3 minutes like aside or sitting quietly. Obviously with my day job, I've always got a pen and a piece of paper close to me and just kind of understanding like what's happened it can be 15 minutes leading up to it. It can be an hour leading up to it and just kind of reflecting on, right, these 4 things have happened in the last 45 minutes. Could that have been some sort of trigger? So obviously with me, it's candidates rejecting a job offer or a client pulling a role or just something not sort of particularly going my way. And honestly, just taking that 2 minutes kind of reflection, it allows you just to put it in the bin, right? You literally just go, right, this has happened or that's happened. Allows you that like 90 seconds or 2 minutes, almost like a bit of a detox, right? And you just go, right, that's happened. Because I think when you don't do that, and what I've realized the difference is that when I'm not doing that reflection, I get to the end of the day and I've had 8 or 9 moments, and I don't know why. So I can't track why it's happened. I don't know if it's something that's worth chatting about and exploring further, or thinking on it further. But I think honestly that's made me much more self-aware to like what I'm feeling, and then also like why I'm feeling that way, like in that moment, and what's contributed to that. And that's been really, really helpful. But I think everyone's in that at the minute, mate. Like when you look at all around the world, you've got so many different things. So like everyone kind of thinks that we've got it good over in Dubai, like, you know, not being in lockdown and this, that, and the next thing. But, you know, a bunch of people are still having to work from home. A bunch of people are still having to do all this like homeschooling with their kids. You know, people are having to do like rotations on if their partner's in the office, they're in the office, shift it around, you know, school run. It's now half term over here. You know, there's so many different things going on that I think it's just important to not let those like blue moments, like those like down moments, like build up, and just assess it, take 2 minutes, and then you know whether to just chuck it in the bin, like you can just move on. But yeah, I think definitely feeling the same. Just, I think everyone, the best way to describe the world right now is just everyone's in limbo. Nobody knows what's going on. And I think that in itself, you know, like obviously I live with my friend Sarah, and it's like, she doesn't know when she's going to be able to travel next, and had 3 or 4 different trips planned for the next few months, right? Like things like that it does trigger those kind of like, you know, crappy thoughts, like, you know, when am I going to be able to get out of here? When am I going to be able to do this, do that? So,
and that one little thing can probably, you know, even right now, could probably send someone the mood in, you know, someone into a bad mood, or a downer, or whatever you want to call it, I guess.
yeah.
And I feel like people are probably experiencing that more now at the moment, that one little thing can probably ruin your day.
It's like the hair that breaks the camel's back, innit? Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't know if you feel like that, Jas, with the whole like knowing you. I don't know if you feel like you experience that these kind of emotions like quite strongly than maybe I would if I was comparing to someone else, for example, than someone that, you know, seems more carefree or whatever. Like I was speaking to about getting Dan Keane on here, and I said like we could talk about, you know, when we were kids and stuff, and Dan's quite a carefree kind of guy, always been like that, and I suppose to me in my head I felt like he probably didn't experience feelings as strongly as I did, whether they were negative or positive or whatever, you know. Even if we won a cricket game, I felt like I would be like so buzzing about it, whereas Dan would just be like, all right, do you know what I mean? Like, and I don't. Do you get that or not, or is that just me?
What, excited?
Yeah. No, I just feel like I feel emotions, like everything, like really, really feel it, like more than maybe someone else does.
Is that both kinds? Is it up when it's negative and also when it's positive?
Yeah, like anything. It could just be like, yeah, if it's a positive thing, I get so like buzzing. If it's negative, I can really get down about it, like, or anything really, like.
Has that always been though? Has it always been like?
Yeah, I think, yeah, always, and I feel like I'm realizing it over the last couple of years how much I like feel the whatever's happening, or the emotion that I might be feeling. Do you know what I mean? Whether it's sadness, it's happiness, or I feel like they're the only two I can think of. But there's obviously loads of different emotions that you can experience, right?
Everybody shows emotions in different ways.
Yeah,
I can definitely relate to happiness and you know, when something good happens, winning a deal or winning a game, or, you know, the important something, I can be very up for it. And yeah, maybe I don't demonstrate the downness as much as other people, but that's just individuals. But yeah, you know, currently, obviously, emotions wise, I think with anxiety in the way the world is, we tend to show our emotions even more so, or they happen more often because nobody knows where this is going.
Yeah, and they also manifest in different ways as well, right? I think that's one of the key things to note and kind of think on is like people will feel different things right now that they maybe wouldn't have felt pre-COVID. they'll react. Like I'm probably over the last 6 months, I think one thing that I would relate to in that sense, in terms of like really feeling something, is just a bit of aggression, like a bit angrier more often, and you know, silly, yeah, just like, you know, it's just getting a bit sort of, you know, like what was the last thing I had in the office, and just like a pen not working on me and running out of ink or something and not being able to write, and I'm like throwing it across the room or launching it in the bin, and I'm like, it's just a fucking pen, just go and get another one. You work in an office that's full of them, just go and grab another one, right? Yeah. And I think that's something that's worth noting, is like right now I think we're potentially almost just acting out because we're in this scenario, in this situation that none of us have control over. And I think that's quite key, is we're probably or a lot of people that maybe start having some more negative thoughts, maybe because they're being quite used to being in control in other aspects of their life. And then all of a sudden that control is just ripped away from you. You can't see the boys on a Thursday after work. You know, you can't go and play cricket or football.
So your routine has changed, and things
completely flipped upside down. Yeah, flipped upside down.
Know, today, just walking, people, you know, you think, oh, if I walk on the left, like you drive this way and that way.
Yeah.
Oh, but everybody walks towards you and doesn't move. You think, F you, blah blah blah. But why? It's just me. But you get upset about silly little things.
Yeah.
Because we don't know when this is going to end. And it's just, but we can't change anything. So I just take it, accept it, and try and get on with it, because it doesn't matter. Because in
that moment, like what you're saying, Glenn, like in that moment, that can't even be a thought process for me. Like, oh, it doesn't matter, just fucking crack on, just like do whatever. It's like you're always like sort of preoccupied with it, hung up on it. Now, I'm not saying that I dwell on a pen running out of ink for the next 45 minutes, but just in that's like split minute, you're just so angry, so pissed off.
Yeah. Well, like here's something that. So when I was back in Sydney, a few years back, I got up a bit late for work, and then I went to get the bus to work, and then the bus drove past me and splashed me with water. Splashed me with water and drove past. So I was late already, more late, and covered in like shit. Yeah. And I was so annoyed. And then I got to work, and then I spilt my lunch down me. So just to, you know, and then
injury.
And then I went to the vending machine, and then my thing got stuck in the vending machine. So like I just thought, this is not my day. And then everything that happened, I'd be so annoyed about, and then I'd be like fuming about it the whole day. And then the next thing, and then I get home, I'm just like, this today.
Do you not think there's a lot to be said for that though? Like when you talk about like starting your day off, right? It started off with an absolute shitter, and then it's almost like, I don't know. You don't want to get
dwell on it. More things happen bad.
Yeah. That's what I was about to say. I don't want to get too philosophical about it, but it's like, right, so you've had this one bad shit thing happen, and then it's almost like you're expecting the next one. Like you're almost expecting just the next.
Yeah, well, do you know what? My mum will be with me on this as well. Like, we expect bad things. Like, so much crap has happened. We expect bad things to happen. So like when something hasn't, I'm like, shit, man, something must be around the corner.
Something's coming.
Yeah.
But sometimes bad things good things come in threes, and bad thing comes in threes.
Yeah,
so
true. True.
It's like Murphy's Law. You drop a bit of toast, it lands the wrong way up.
Yeah.
They happen.
Really true.
Forrest Gump says shit happens.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Sometimes it's compounded because so many of them happen all at once. Good afternoon, Doug.
Good afternoon.
Hey,
sorry I'm late. I fell asleep after walking the dog.
Well done. Well done.
You've got a glow about you, mate, and a nice backdrop.
Yeah, I'm in the Conservatory today.
Still waking up. Need a coffee.
Yeah. How's everybody?
So what's the chat back home? What's the chat with, like, getting out the house, like obviously walking the dog and stuff, like what's the rules and regulations about getting out and about and being out and about?
2 people allowed to go. I think it's supposed to be like an hour or something, but we walk from here to the park, and then do an hour in the park. So it's a couple of hours, as it were.
Yeah,
it's fine. It's pretty good.
And you know,
and a coffee on the way back.
You reckon? It's interesting because obviously it's interesting just to compare like what's going on in different places and stuff like that. And
yeah.
So back in Edinburgh, it's like, I feel like Sturgeon's always trying to go one up on Boris. So he makes an announcement and then she's like, well, I'm going to go twice as hard as that restriction just to try and be better than him. And I feel like they're in this like pissing match around like who can inflict the tightest restrictions. It's ridiculous.
It's just politicians are in a pissing match.
It's just silly stuff like you know, the whole bubble scenario on who's allowed to come and go and in and out and stuff like that. And then this whole mandatory 14-day hotel quarantine for traveling back and stuff like that. I mean, it's just crazy. It's just there's no sort of, I don't really see any rhyme or reason to any of the decisions that are being made by the government back home at the minute. Like, you know, we went into, obviously out here in Dubai, we went into a really tight lockdown quite early, Glen, right? March last year? We were like, went into a really tight lockdown.
March.
So almost a year ago, they basically put us on like a 24-hour lockdown. Do you remember we had to get a permit to go shopping? We had to log on to a website and to go get cash out, to go get shopping, to go get, like, if you want to leave your house, you had to get a permit. And I'd say like that's obviously that's worked quite well for us. Now, you can't really implement anything like that back home, but when you're looking at the sort of stats and the figures on, you know, like deaths, and I'm not saying that people dying from COVID isn't horrendous, because it absolutely is, but, you know, you look at the strictness of the decisions being made in comparison to like the mortality rate, for example, it just doesn't quite add up for me, you know? Like, they're acting like no one can die from this. Like, they've made this decision that they don't want anyone to die, so then there's so much pressure elsewhere. Like, I was chatting to a friend last week over dinner. Her friend works for the NHS, and she was saying that just over like that last 48-hour period, so this was maybe Wednesday last week, she was saying that 700 emergency ambulance calls had been dropped, like hadn't been answered because of the pressure that the NHS is under. Wow. So that could have been any one thing happening, but like 700 calls in a 24-hour period that have been dropped because they're under that much pressure. And I almost feel like the pressure that they're under is kind of self-inflicted when you look at the like I'm saying, the cases, the deaths. I just don't think it warrants the amount of lockdown and restriction they've put in place. How are you guys finding it? Like, just being able to go out once a day, like would you guys normally be out a bit more than that?
Yep.
Yeah. You walk out freely normally.
just do what you want. Yeah, you just do what you want. Yeah.
Not do what we want. I mean, I go shopping. If I have to get food, I go on walks. I might do 2 or 3 a day, depending. Yeah. But I socially distance. I walk with, if I walk with any one person, or I walk on my own, or I walk the dog. Yeah.
And what's the chat like? Are you guys having to like out here, it's mandatory face masks. Otherwise, it's like a £3,000 fine.
In a shop, you're meant to wear one, but no, it's not.
No one does
when you're walking the street.
Oh, I don't wear anything for the walk.
Nor do I.
Back, no mask at all. I've got one in my pocket, but
like if I step outside my front door and the police drive by and I don't have a mask on me, fine. Like it's like 10,000 dirhams or something like that. So it's like 2,000-3,000.
Someone went on a boat like last
week a couple of weeks ago, wasn't it?
20 people. They all got fined £1,500 each
for not social distancing. Yeah.
No, I mean, there's been incidents here with people breaking the current COVID restrictions, and they're fined. Majority of people all follow these things. Whether
do you think it is the majority though? Like, do you think it is?
Sorry?
Do you think it is the majority? Like, of people, because I put up a post, I think maybe a month or so ago. There was a lot of people coming up on like my social media platforms and stuff like that were, I don't want to say they were like flouting the rules, like just, bang on like disregarding them, but quite a high volume of people just weren't really doing what they're told. And I had a conversation with a couple of mates, and they're like, well, I'm going to go around to his on, Boxing Day, for example. And I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? Why are 7 or 8 of you going around to your mate's house on Boxing Day? And he's like, I'm not fucking having the government tell me what I can and can't do. And it's like, well, you're just going to be in lockdown forever. You're just going to be in lockdown forever. It's never going to change with attitudes like that. And I think it's quite interesting to see the difference between like guys like my age, like sort of mid-20s, early 30s, their attitude towards it. And then like guys that are a bit older, their attitude towards it, it's really, really a stark difference in attitudes towards this entire thing, which I think is super, super interesting. Because I've had COVID. I had COVID over Christmas, and I can honestly tell you, I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. I was the sickest I've ever been in my life, to the point where I couldn't even walk myself to the toilet, like having to crawl.
I'm sorry you had COVID. I'm pleased that you've recovered from it. But there are so many varying stories of bad to
not
didn't
bad
do anything to I felt a bit rough or it's lasted. Who knows? Okay,
and that's a scary thing, right? That's a scary thing.
The scary thing is nobody knows. Not even the doctors know. So hey, we're in this world. We're in it. We just have to do what we have to do, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So before you got on, I was talking about like how I feel like I experience emotions like really strongly, like anything, whether it's happy or sad or whatever it is, I feel it quite powerfully, maybe stronger than what someone else might feel. Do you do you feel like you can relate to that, or are you like?
No, before you answer that, he's always been like this, not just COVID. He's always
not just because of COVID, or because I or if I'm just pissed, or I'm not pissed. I'm just saying,
yes and no. I don't think on all emotions. I mean, since my dad died, though, I've been really emotional about things, And I think just because I hid it inside me and still do, kind of thing, But in terms of happiness and stuff, I don't have extremes on those emotions and stuff. But I've noticed limits in that, as it were. Definitely.
Do you not think like? I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing, to be honest with you, Glenn. I don't think that.
No. I mean, things... I don't feel like it's bad, but
what do you wish? What do you wish you were like when you say that? Like,
if I was to say what would I wish I was more like? I wish I was more laid back in terms of like we referred to getting splashed by the bus or the bus driving past me and making me late. Like I talked about this with my friend Reese when we was like in Australia, and he read that book, The Art of Not Giving a Fuck. That book.
Yeah.
He was like, you should read it. I mean, I started it, and he was like, it's no good for me because I don't give a shit about anything like that. But for me, he was like, this will be good for you because you care about stuff like that. That gets to you. Do you know what I mean? And
I listened to it on audio.
It was great. I didn't end up finishing it, but already it made a difference. And I was like, oh yeah, you need to chill out. Like the bus, it doesn't affect your life. It makes you late for 15 minutes, and then it doesn't matter. Do you know what I mean? But
why have you let something so trivial? Spiral.
Like, and then that's when what I'm saying with like the emotions. Like then it'll wind me up, and then I'll experience that annoyance so strongly that I'll dwell on it and then obsess over it, whereas someone else that's probably a little bit more laid back would just be like, well, I don't really care. Do you know what I mean? Whereas I'm like, fuck, I'm late. Like, life shit, I'm late.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, definitely.
But isn't that what makes the world a better place is because people are so different.
Yeah.
Sorry, I mean that you react to things in a different way than I do, right?
Yeah, but I also think that me and you both get pissed off over things.
Absolutely, but I'm done getting pissed off about things. I'm sure Connway gets pissed off about things.
Yeah.
But and maybe
that's why I asked you if you were similar to me, because we both get very annoyed over little things, don't we?
Yeah, maybe I am, Glenn. Maybe that's why I like you so much. Who knows?
So we can strop together.
Absolutely.
It is true. I mean, I think everybody has different degrees of, maybe I do, and actually, but the fact that I just keep them inside me, I just don't show them. Maybe I erupt, but I suppress it inside me. But that's the way. I think
that's what I was just saying earlier about, having that little like reflection time. I was just saying, Doug, I've sort of, when I've been having those moments of like pissed off, anger, frustration, I'm kind of taking like a couple of minutes just to reflect on what the build-up's been. And I've noticed that when I don't do that, it gets to an eruption, and that could be, I think my eruptions are different. Like sometimes it will just be like an aggressive outburst. More often than not, it involves 10 pints, and just trying to like forget and just not sort of dwell on it. But yeah, like I think I'm quite similar to you, Doug, in terms of like it does. I wouldn't say all the time, but I'd say more often than not, it's definitely more of a eruption, and that's where that's when it can get a bit that's when it can get a bit messy, right? When it ends up being that eruption, right?
It is. It's just I think it's my family upbringing. I've always everything gets suppressed. In some respects, it's quite a large family, not as large as yours, Jasper. But in those things, if you do show anger, if you do show happiness, as it were, and with team sports and being around people, it gets sort of mellowed, because if you do that extreme, then people take you to task on it, and you learn those. I think
I've always seen you as quite mellow, Doug. Your humour and the way you around, because really,
that's how I deal with it.
I know the club, and you're a humorous. You have fun. That place is a place for you to go and enjoy and celebrate. But even when it's losing, you celebrate the loss. So I don't. I see anger from certain people when they lose. You could go through a whole bunch of colts that have broken their hand hitting a wall, or have done all sorts of things when they've lost. I'm unhappy when we lose games, but I find a way through it by sitting down, having a drink with people, and having a laugh and a giggle. Much the same as you, probably.
Yeah, I mean, I hate losing, but I've been taught, as much as anything else, to be respectful, and that's what's happened.
I think it's a very interesting, like coming back to the sport thing. So I played like a decent level of sort of football growing up. I'm sort of big into my golf out here. Fairly sort of sporty. And it dawned on me, like, something I've quite struggled with. I don't know if I hate losing more than I love to win, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know if I love winning.
I'm definitely like that. I cannot.
Do you know what I mean? I don't know what I love or hate more, right? Like,
there's certain people as well. There's certain people I do not want to lose to. Like
But is that feeling the same with a team sport and an individual sport? So do you feel the same way at golf?
Everything. Competitive in the office, who's doing the most deals, who runs faster. Even if I'm walking to the office, I'm like, right, can I like quickly like shuffle past this person and like get ahead and like shoot on? Do it all the time. Like, you're in my way, just get out of my way, and then I'm gonna like shift around, like, unconsciously race people. Like, it's a level of competitiveness that might. Listen, it served me well. Like, it has served me well, but that, like, I get like, not being able to understand. Do I just love to win, or do I hate to lose? Like, I honestly don't know.
Yeah,
I can answer that. I can't. I'm not a psychologist.
Yeah,
I'm bottom of our boys' fantasy league, right, by 140 points, I think. And I want to give up, and I'm like, I can't be bothered anymore. But I'm like, this is not happening. Like, I'm not coming bottom because I can't stand it, mate. Like, I can't. If West Ham losing the group and then I get abused, like, that's it. I'm done. I just cannot.
I don't want
at the same time, if Palace lose, I'm like, gosh, giving them some. But as soon as I get it back, that is it. Like, I'm livid inside, and I can't stand losing. I just hate it. And if say for instance we're playing like football, for example, against West Wickham or someone that's a local team, and that's it. I cannot lose. I will just do anything, whether it's wind them up and kick them or any. I just can't stand losing. And if we start losing, then that's it. That's when the abuse comes in, because I need to get out. Like, I remember we played West Wickham once, and all like these boys, these guys, I can't even remember their name. They went to Hayes, I think. Lovely kids, but I just didn't want to lose.
These kids aren't lovely.
And I kicked this kid, but not like off the ball, but just tripped him up. Like a little trip him up as he's running kind of thing. The goalie came running. I didn't hurt him. I just tripped it like a little kick, like a little trip. Goalie come running out and was up in my face, and I was like, and then all the boys come round. I didn't even hurt him. It was just like a little trip up, and I was just like, man, that's my way of getting because we're getting smashed here. That's my way of winning. Do you know what I mean? I need to feel like I've won somehow, so I just wind them up a little. But I can't stand losing, I think. And I think I definitely hate that more than winning.
Do you not change? Like I do this fantasy league, and I'm in one of them I'm doing really well. The other one I'm not doing so well with the big one where the money's in with the football club and stuff. I'm about 10th or 12th or something like that. So I've now changed my rules to myself. It's now a matter of, because you can win by getting the most points each week and stuff like that. So now,
So that's what you
substitutions.
Changing the tactics, I like it.
The rules are different.
So you've moved the goalpost to feel better about it.
I can't win this way.
Yeah, I do think that I'm too competitive. Like, I don't know if you can be too competitive, but
I think you can. Everything. I think you can. I think you definitely can.
Even with another one of my friends, like even if it's like betting, right? If we both were betting at the like that day, and he's winning and I'm not, I'll be like, if he wins a bet, I'll be like, I don't know why has he won. I'm pissed off he's won. Like, I get that bad, like, and then he'll wind me up, and we'll wind each other up, and he'll be like, oh mate, you've got one eye or something, and I'll be like, yeah, but you've got a big nose, and then he'll be like, yeah, but and then we just abuse each other until one person's just gone, oh, whatever, and don't reply. Like, that's how much, like, we have to win at everything, especially me and this guy, like Alex King, Dan's brother.
Is that competitiveness or envy?
Envy as well, and jealousy. I'm definitely a jealous person.
It's a great question, Jasper, actually. It's a great question.
Because if it's more than just competitiveness, it is envy, jealousy, and somebody's got a better stick.
Jealousy is definitely honestly, I suffer with.
And at the end of the day, somebody's always going to have a better car than you. Somebody's always going to have something better than you. So what the fuck? Let them have it and just enjoy life.
See, with me though, it's not even any of those things. Do you want to know, honestly? And this is me being proper self-aware, and I don't think I've ever actually admitted this before. With me, it's arrogance. I just genuinely think I'm the better footballer, better pool player, better dart player, better golfer. Yeah. I just genuinely believe that, like, on any like team sport or whatever, like, being the difference maker, like, and that's I think that's probably where my frustration comes, in terms of, and it probably relates back to your point, Glenn, about feeling really powerfully. Like, team sport, there's 10 other guys on the field when I play football. But if we lose a game, it was always something that I did wrong or didn't do or pass I didn't make. And I felt that really powerfully, because leading back to that like sort of arrogance thing, like I just thought like I was the best, was like the best thing ever, you know, like whatever that might be. So I think from my perspective, it's not even envy or jealousy. It's a bit more like maybe pig-headedness, maybe arrogance isn't the right word, but just genuinely believing that I should just win every single time.
No, I believe that when I play football or cricket or anything, I believe I personally can make a difference.
Yeah. That's why I play. Yeah, that's why I play. Like that's why.
Well, that's why anyone wants to play, isn't it?
Yeah.
But then
I agree. Like with people, you know, I'm a bit sort of more old school in terms of my thought process on it. But like, yeah, it's like just play to win, right? Like there's certain things that you can do in different sports, like golf. I thought I can shoot 110, right? And I'll still go, that was a great day out. No, I never shoot 110. Mid-80s now. Managed to get the handicap down. But
I think I went round at Emirates that Magillis one in that 145 or something.
145?
Mate.
I'm surprised they never threw it off.
By the 9th hole, I'd lost 10 balls, mate. It was awful.
Mate. So when I played Magillis last, so round here, lads, we've got Jasper and Doug, we've got sort of a real good pick of like world-class golf courses. So Magillis is where they play the Omega Desert Classic, and I was round there 4 or 5 months ago, and you can get a caddy there. That's how posh it is. You can actually pay for a caddy. So I was like, do you know what? I'm going to do it. So it's an extra 60 quid plus tip just for the caddy. And I sent him off after 9 holes. I was like, I sent him off after 9 holes. I was like, you're not doing anything for my game here, mate.
It's not working.
Yeah, it's not working. We're never going to get on the PGA with this shit. I think that's Magillis is hard though, Glen. Right? It's proper tough. It's a proper.
Mate, it's so hard out here. The green, like you can't. You know, if you're chipping on, you've got to chip like halfway down the fairway, and it will run next to the hole. Yeah. If you chip onto the green, you're off the green again. There's no point. Like it's just a nightmare.
It's like glass. So
you got and you sand everywhere. Yeah, as I say, I lost 10 balls by the 9th hole, so it was nightmare.
Something I
and then I get so wound up. By the way, golf's not a good game for me because.
It takes a bit. Yeah, you need to be a bit. You're out there for 4.
Same with cricket, though.
That's why my face is pink, by the way, lads. I was playing golf yesterday. I
was going to say you've definitely been playing golf.
Yeah,
Scottish. It's same with cricket, though, isn't it? Like with cricket, it's as much as it's a team sport. It's like if you're bowling, you're batting. It's an individual thing, right? And I used to get so pissed off if I didn't play well. But then when I was annoyed with bowling, I think I bowled better. When I was pissed off,
bit of anger,
and I would just fucking down there, bowl a couple of wides, but then the wicket would come in the end. It's hard to.
You change as you get older. I can now play with cricket, and last year it's not all about winning and losing. It's about making sure that you're growing the colts and stuff like that and things.
With the club like that, of course.
It used to be first team, focused, win this at all costs, and I can make a difference and let's just win. Now, I'm maybe playing 2s. I'll be playing 3s and 4s next year. I don't, my knees give me jip, but I'll enjoy playing with the kids and making them better cricketers. And I do. I genuinely I love that. I love the whole coaching thing and all that sort of stuff as well. So getting the time out to do those things, but you just change your goals, I think, because I know when I'm playing, I want to make a difference. I want to win, but it's not the be all and end all. I've got a different goal.
Yeah.
Now, because I'm older. I know I can't affect the game as much. That's life,
I know. I definitely think like after after my accident and that, like I didn't really care anymore. I was only there to really just have a laugh and a booze after, but like I still wanted to like be the best, and that was tough when I'm not saying I was the best before that because I definitely weren't, but I was still had some ability to score runs and get wickets and then and make catches, which I think I caught one after my accident, and I retired, I think.
I remember you catching any, actually. Glen.
I think I caught one on the boundary, mate, and then I took my top off and ran around and went, and that's it, I'm done now, I'm finished. Never playing again. The best moment was the what's Dave Golby Sunday game though, when I bowled him, done him with a P roller and took 5 wickets. I think bowled one at his head or something, I think. And I was getting annoyed then as well because I just couldn't do it. You know what I mean? I just couldn't do what I used to be able to do, and it was just crap. And I was getting so frustrated with it.
Yeah, and that's part. I can't do stuff as well as I used to be doing.
Yeah,
and that's why I think you have to just change your goals a little bit. Same for fantasy league. I know I can't win it now, so just change the rules.
Yeah, I want to. I know I can't win, but I still want to try and beat everyone as much.
Oh no, absolutely. Look, if you've got a chance to win, I'd love to. Every game. It's just the way it is, isn't it? There's nothing better. There's no better team bonding than everybody winning. If you win every week, it's fantastic.
Yeah. When you're winning, it's easy.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah, more to learn from a loss, right?
There is. You play in football at our club for the 9th 11, and your goal is to minimise. Can we keep it below 6 this week, lads?
Listen, it's as a supporter of the Nines and a spectator of the Nines, it's the standing there for 90 minutes that is hard for me. It's after 45 minutes, I'm off to the bar.
It's dreadful. I've played.
Doug, are you still wearing both knee braces, mate? Wouldn't you?
No, just the left knee now. Just the left knee.
No, I think his brother's wearing both knee braces, isn't he?
Oh, is that?
There's a good example. My brother's a disgrace to this sort of stuff. You see, he's had 2 hip replacements. The first one, he had a hip replacement. The bloke said, right, you need to leave it for about 3 to 6 months before. 2 weeks later, he's standing at first slip. 3 weeks later, he was having a bowl. He did a 13 ball over, trying to. And he goes, my hip wasn't coming through. Go, you don't say. You're not supposed to do any sport at all for at least 3 months. But he's out there 2 weeks later, and that's the way. And he doesn't care that he's rubbish. He just wants to play.
Yep.
And just the way he is. I think he inspires a lot of people because just
he does.
Our clubs look at him and go, well, he
does. When he scored a goal last year, which is quite incredible, the whole team was so delighted for him. It was quite incredible. He was mobbed.
It was amazing, wasn't it? It was absolutely nuts. He scored a header, and it was the winner as well.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant.
It's fantastic. But yeah, his drive is unreal. He'll get the 9th 11 out every week. He'll make 200 phone calls or whatever else to try and get people out and stuff. That's what he's about.
That makes a difference at grassroots level as well, right? You need those. We always had there's always, when we played football grassroots, when we were under 14s, 15s, 16s, you'd always have the same 4 dads. Always have the same 4 dads, and they'd be sharing on Facebook. They'd be, messaging round in the group chats, just trying to fire everyone up, and rain, and I'm talking rain, sleet, or snow. It was the same 4 dads that were always there, and they'd always get a bit of a crowd. They'd always get a few people, and whether that was they'd come and they'd bring the big 5-litre flask of Bovril and have it on the back of the car and keep people warm watching us. Basically, just watch us kick the shite out of each other for 90 minutes. Especially when you get that Edinburgh-Glasgow Scottish Cup tie, and you're travelling to the middle of Bathgate, an hour and 10 minutes on the bus, and it's legitimately -3 outside, and you're just there to basically batter the shite at each other for 90 minutes. The same 4 dads always show up. I think it's really important in that, especially in community clubs, that's driven on community and bringing people together. The team I played for growing up, it was
That's
super.
The same at our place. You look at the junior cricket, same parents. Junior football, same parents. There's a core amount of guys and women that just go and do their thing to make sure that things happen.
And they're worth their weight in gold. The people that just rock up every week. I take my hat off to them, because in hindsight, now, would I go and watch under 14s football at -3? I don't know, but they always rocked up. Yeah. And they're genuinely those parents are worth their weight in gold.
Yeah, and but that's 100%. What it's about, isn't it? And that's why our aim to do is to get all this going through the sports club and kind of use sport as our I guess our niche, our thing to what we're trying to promote.
And I think it's going to get to the point as well. Like we need to, we look at how much. Let's take it away from grassroots level. Let's look at semi-professional, professional level. I think that these clubs, whether it be professional cricket, football, rugby, whatever, I feel like they're going to want to get involved because I feel like they understand the social level of responsibility that they have. You've got like people's heroes are their sports stars, right? Playing for your own team, they're your heroes. And I think that one thing that will really, really help like break the stigma that we're in as guys about talking about our mental health is seeing our heroes doing it, right? Like the guy that plays for your the team that you support, if he's comfortable enough and an advocate of it, I think that'll be huge for breaking the stigma. I'm talking about at a professional level. I'm talking about like what responsibility do Liverpool Football Club have? What responsibility do City have? What responsibility do West Ham have? Feeding down into their grassroots communities and making sure I'm not just talking about guys here. I'm talking about like women. I'm talking about mental health in general. What responsibility? First of all, like keen to get your opinion on it. Do they have a responsibility? Do they owe the community anything to come out and talk about things like this? If is it just adding to their plate? Like what do you guys think about that? Because I personally think that a bunch of my mates, like I was saying to Glen last week, look, I've lost 2 mates to suicide in the last 3 years, and one of them was probably one of the best footballers you've ever seen up until the age of about 19. And I just feel that if there was more people that he looked up to from a sporting hero perspective coming out and talking about it, what effect could that have had? Could that have brought him out of his shell a bit more to come and chat to his mates? I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, for me, I mean, the Tyson Fury thing for me is what made me think, right, this guy, what he's took, the place he took himself to, right, in terms of the drugs and the drinking and he got to a stage where he'd done everything he wanted to do in his career, and then he had nothing left. He had nothing to focus on, and I just think, I'm not saying that I've done everything I wanted to do in my life, because I haven't, but I felt like for me, I got to a point where, I don't have any goals. Like, what am I looking to do? Like, I'm not exactly I'm not exactly at the top of where I want to be with my career, but I'm quite, happy with what I've done and what I've achieved. And I feel like the places I've found myself in my life and the things I've been through, I acknowledge that. Instead of being negative about it, I kind of thought, well, actually, what I've done to get to where I am now is a big thing. And then that's where when the Tyson Fury thing came about, I was like, yeah, like I feel like I've achieved a lot considering what where I've come from.
If you can go from that to that and then come back out.
And then I thought, well, mate, like what the hell has he just done? He's gone from doing all that to then coming back and fighting Deontay Wilder and all that stuff, and I was like, wow. And then he's out with his the fact that he's suffered with mental health issues, that he almost committed suicide, all that stuff. And I thought, mate, like I've got to do something about this, because he can do it. Like,
did you think that was the game? Was that the game changer for you then, Glen? Was that
for me? Because I just felt
someone like that.
He done it all, and he had nothing left. He didn't have anything to focus.
He should have all the happiness in the world, and he didn't. Yeah,
and I felt like I'm not saying that I was really happy or But I've had a good upbringing. I've had everything I've wanted out of life. All right, yeah, you know, I've lost my dad, I've lost my granddad, you know, lost vision in my eye, all these bad things. But you know, I've not had a tough upbringing. I've not, you know, been without. I've always had what I want. You know what I mean? I've had a nice life, and I couldn't complain about the childhood I've had. But all right, like I said, I've had shit things happen, but I've come through them. But I just got to a point where I didn't really have any goals. Like, where else can I go in life? I've done what a lot of people wouldn't be able to, you know, do maybe, in terms of I didn't have any GCSEs. I've got to the job I've got. You know, been all through this shit emotionally, and I've come through it. And it just kind of resonated with me that this guy didn't have anywhere else to go, and I felt like I didn't. Probably fell into a bad place, come back, you know, through meeting my partner and moving to Dubai with her, and, you know, being happy, and realised that it's a similar kind of journey in terms of I've got to a point where I didn't know where else I could go, what else I wanted out of life.
I think it's super important as well. Like, see, when you're talking earlier about, like feeling things like really powerfully, do you everything you've just said there about, you know, getting to where you're at now, and, you know, doing what you've done, and coming back from, you know, dark places, do you think that you give yourself enough credit for that? Do you think that you pat yourself on the back enough and be like, you know what, fucking...
No, I've realised what I've done. I've realised how, you know, through other people mention it to me, I guess, that how, you know, strong, like, I guess you have to be to get through that. But I'm so, this is where the self-doubt thing comes in, and the self-belief stuff creeps back in for me, because although I'm a confident person, you know, I guess I made myself a confident person because I wasn't when I was younger. And I just think, well, you're not doing good enough. For me, the thing that gets to me all the time is where I am in my life, and where I think I should be, based on what people drill into you from early doors in terms of getting a mortgage, and what I see around me. I'm a sucker for what I see other people doing and worrying about what other people do, which I know I shouldn't do. And it's a 50-50. Half the time I don't give shit, the other half I do, and then I go boom, and then I get down about it. You know? But in terms of giving myself credit for what I've been through, I do. Sometimes I feel kind of arrogant with it, that no one could do what I've done and go through and be where I am. I get arrogant with it, kind of, to myself. I like make, you know, I've got to Glen's the man kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Like, that's good though. I think you need that. You need that to like G yourself up, right? You need to. Sometimes you need that sort of, you know, powerful kind of talking to about like where you've been, what you've done, sort of what you've got through. Because I think that I'm quite similar to you in terms of kind of just always focusing on the next thing, whether it's the next win, whether it's the next deal, whether it's the next whatever. And I think it kind of induces my anxiety, because it means that I'm not slowed down to the point where I'm just like enjoying doing what I'm doing, like day to day. Do you know what I mean? Like, just like Doug was saying earlier, just fucking enjoying just being there, just being a bit more present, right? Just taking part in the game, or, you know, just being a bit more present. And I think that's, you know, I've got, I think, you know, what I describe as high functioning anxiety, where that's just how you operate. You're just always constantly focused on the next thing, like what's next, and it stops you enjoying like where you're at now and what you're up to now and what you're doing, because when
even if I'm just doing just writing an email or something, it has to be
what's next
I want to do the best I can possibly do it.
And I you know, if I'd looked back, so I've been, you know, been in Dubai just over 2 years now. There was a point where, like, I would have dreamed just getting up to what I'm up to now, like playing golf yesterday. Do you know what I mean? Am I playing golf yesterday if I'm in Edinburgh and -3 in snow? Definitely not, right? So, you know, there's just, and that's, you know, something that I'm trying to and want to be more conscious of is the fact that 3, 4, 5 years ago, I was dreaming about sort of getting up to what I'm up to now, right? Being in Dubai and being able to do a bit of golf and play, but then I'm here and I ruin it for myself because I just want to win and I'm overly competitive and I'm always focused on the next thing. What are we cracking on to next? There's always something that's maybe bigger or better that I want to attain. Instead of just sort of slowing down and relaxing a bit and just like Doug said earlier, just enjoying changing the goals. I think that's the best thing Doug said. Change the goals.
I think, look, all of us have similar attitudes, and Glenn saying what he said, we all think lucky me and or whatever, or unlucky me, and we have envy and we look at other people. But at the end of the day, 90% of men and human beings have exactly the same feelings we all have.
Yeah.
What we're doing now is being able to talk about it, which is the best thing, openly. And if we look for other people of importance to guide us, it's not going to happen. We have to do it ourselves. Nothing happens unless you do it yourself. Change, reflect. I'm older than all of you by a little bit, but yeah, one of the hardest things for me when I stopped playing cricket, not being in the dressing room every week, and actually not feeling part of the club. But I wasn't playing. And because I lost that, I felt lonely, not part of anything, because my career had finished as playing, because I couldn't do the things I used to do, much like you're saying now, Doug, much like you're saying, Glenn. It came to you early and it happened to me, but yeah, still, if I ever was to play cricket, trust me, I'd want to go on and win. I'm not going to play cricket, so it's all right. But we're all in the same boat, and don't look for sports people of superiority to tell us what to do. Go and do it yourself. Talk about it to other people and say, I suffer, I have anxiety, I have issues, I get depressed, I get fucked off, I get upset, but hell, I'm still here, and there's people far worse off than me. I'm going to love life and enjoy it.
Yeah.
It doesn't stop you being inspired by people, though, Jasper.
Oh, no, I'm inspired by lots of people. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm inspired by people that I talk to on a daily basis. I'm inspired by sports people, but by all of you guys, because we're here talking about it.
Boys, I'm going to have to shoot off because unfortunately it's Valentine's Day, and
no, is it?
Yeah, we decided to not order pizza, but ordered the kit to make it. So yeah,
nice.
I've got to go do that now. But I can leave you lot to it here if you. I'll leave it on. Yeah, you're going to stay on.
Yeah. You want to stay on, guys?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
At the moment, France are winning the game of rugby, so yes, we'll stay on. I hope that the Irish.
Did you watch Scotland Wales last night?
Yes, I did. And I was so upset for Scotland.
That was. They got lucky, right? So
I'll leave
lucky.
it on. I'll just leave you staring at my thing, all right? Or I'll turn the video off.
No worries, mate.
Later, chaps.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, boys. Brilliant chat, to be fair.
So, lads, how long have you guys been involved in Men of the Hill? I'm keen to find out kind of how long you guys have been involved. What you've kind of taken from it, because I'm planning on doing weekly Zoom calls myself and sort of hosting it for guys back up the road in Edinburgh and well, anywhere in Scotland really. Anyone that wants to hop on, I've got friends, family, and everything that I think would really benefit from it. So how long have you guys sort of have been involved, and what have you guys been getting from it? And I'm keen to, I guess, give you guys a bit of background on me and why I've decided that I guess it's time to take a stand. I always describe mental health as the invisible illness. It's how I always refer to it, because the people that you expect it from the least suffer with it, and it's very invisible. So how long have you guys been involved?
I've answered that already. I'll let Doug answer that, Jasper. Yeah, I'll let Doug go because I've answered it. I did it before you got on the call. I said from the beginning, ever since he was 11 years old.
Well, I mean, if it's Men of the Health as a thing, since Glen spoke to me,
yeah.
Personally, I mean, during the first lockdown, I did a group for the club for everybody. Tried to post every day on there, get other people to post and stuff. So
yeah,
that sense of community really, and everybody looking after each other. In terms of, I mean, the biggest thing for me with mental health is when Kirk died. He was someone at our club, everybody loved him, and he just committed suicide. I mean, it was just out of nowhere, really.
Yeah.
But we sort of knew he had some issues and stuff, but to kill himself, and he's got a lovely family. His wife was 6 months pregnant, whatever else and things. You won't meet a nicer person. He just killed himself out of nowhere.
Yeah, I think that's the scariest thing for me, and what I've always taken the most pain from in losing like two of my best mates. Like we grew up together, and both of them not even making it over the age of 30. You know, you saying about is it Kirk? Is that his name?
Yeah.
You know, his family, wife 6 months pregnant. I took the most pain, and where I struggled the most was not understanding, or not, that's not the right word. I was in the most pain about how much pain they were silently going through.
Exactly.
And you know, my sort of reflection on that was, it wasn't that I was beating myself up about like, why didn't I phone, why didn't I text? Because I do think that, and I do genuinely believe I'm very, very present with all my mates sort of around me, and kind of always have been. But the thing that I struggled with the most wasn't, and it sounds so strange saying it, but it wasn't losing them, because that's what they felt they had to do, and it's done, and I feel that I know that they'll be pain-free, right? What hurt me the most was knowing that I could be so incredibly close to someone, and they were going through just this silent pain that nobody knew about. And I think that's where, you know, my sort of want to get involved with something like this is that, you know, it pains me to think even people that I might not know are silently going through the most ridiculous amount of pain, because, you know, when you think about what someone must be thinking, and the, you know, to wake up and just battle your own head every single day, and then for that just to get to the point where it's just like, nah, not doing this anymore.
Imagine it, can you? Just and you don't see it.
Yeah, it's so invisible. It's invisible, you know. I think that, you know, when a first mate passed, you know, there was some stuff going on, but there was no telltale signs of something like that happening, you know. And you know, we're a friendship group back home of about 25, 30 strong, and it sent, you know, absolute shockwaves like through our friendship group.
Because none of you knew. None of you knew.
Like, no, I mean, you know, he was a little shit in school and, you know, expelled and whatnot and stuff, but, you know, had a job that he was enjoying. You know, there was some stuff going on like around like gambling and stuff like that, but I don't think anyone really thought it was that deep. It was like, oh, you know, lose a few £100 or whatever on the horses and stuff, but it was, I don't think anyone saw that was about to happen. Like, you know, when you look at or think about like telltale signs about people becoming a bit more reclusive and you know, not going about daily life, maybe not making work or whatever, like there was none of that. There was none of the what we would describe as telltale signs for someone about to do something like that. And, you know, it was my best mate, like knew him since I was like 11 years old, grew up together, and, you know, to feel helpless after the deed's been done is, I've never felt pain like it. I've never.
Very, very hard. I have to say that it, for a friend of mine, his son committed suicide a long time ago, and that must have been soul destroying for him.
Yeah.
To not even know why. And this morning, reading BBC News, there was a young girl that committed suicide as well, and they were going through the whys and the why-nots. And the parents didn't know.
Yeah.
And didn't understand until they found her diaries after she passed. They don't. It's so difficult, but I guess these things. Getting involved in this is one pretty much same as I said, because of Glen. Because I also admit that I do suffer from lots of things in terms of mental health, and this is for me is a way to help and talk, and by talking, it helps me help other people, but helps me, and that's the most important thing.
Yeah, I've never spoken of it. I don't speak about these things. Historically, in my family, we never talk about these things. You keep it inside yourself.
Yeah, we never did either, Doug. I mean, never spoke about it. Never would. It's like, it'd be, go away, get on with life.
Yeah,
exactly.
I think it's quite interesting. As my talking about just you guys mentioning about not talking about it and it not being a topic of conversation or maybe not necessarily encouraged. My mum actually posted something really interesting earlier on Facebook, and it's talking about sort of a longer post. I won't sort of read it all, but talking around the behaviour that's instilled in us from being toddlers. So one of the things that she brings up is perhaps the reasons that teens isolate themselves or men isolate themselves instead of coming to someone with their problems is because when they're toddlers and they feel we isolate them when they feel overwhelmed. So when they're trying to manage their emotions, they're throwing tantrums, meltdowns, they scream, we whine when we're kids, right? But the response to that is to go and put them in a corner or send them to their room instead of trying to actually communicate it's okay, you're having a tantrum, but why? And then when you become older, you become move into your teenage years, parents kind of wonder why these things happen or why we don't communicate. But I thought it was just a really valid point about that's what you do, right? Your kid's having a tantrum or shouting and screaming, it's telling them off, telling them to be quiet, naughty corner, naughty step, go to your room, you're grounded. So when those sort of feelings, it's almost you're instilling that unconscious bias that, well, if I'm like that when I'm 21, 22, I'll keep it in, I'll isolate. And I thought that was a super interesting point because that goes all the way back to when we were, toddlers, right?
It goes all the way back to the parents being told how to bring up children.
Yeah.
So not your mother, it goes back generations and generations.
It does.
Yeah, very true.
And all the child psychologists that tell you what to do. So maybe they're wrong. I don't know.
Yeah. I just thought that was a really interesting point because I think it's true, that sort of behaviour to isolate. It's almost like forced isolation when you're having a tantrum when you're younger and you get sent to your room or whatever. I just thought it was a very interesting point.
We've got a whole generation of kids going to be completely different to that. Because my son screams openly in torture about someone scoring a goal against him on Xbox and stuff. but it's celebrated. He's completely lost it.
Yeah,
it's kind of seen as a good thing. So
is that because of lockdown, though? Is that because of where we are as well?
Say again, Jasper.
Is that because of lockdown as well?
No, that's just the way they're bought. Because they're now playing. The internet opens up everything and allows everybody to talk more easily, but then at the same time, everything's more public as well, isn't it? With your emotions, with everything, you can talk a lot more in some respects because you can talk with a bit of an anonymity, but not directly. You don't talk to anybody, but you talk to everybody. At the same time. But you are expressing.
Yeah.
So it does give you a chance in some respects, and there's no filter either. It's there, that freedom of speech thing. So, will the next generation be better? I hope so, because of those things.
I think it's the communication different ways, isn't it? I think sort of this, new generation. I'll probably class myself as that new generation, as the different ways that you're now able to communicate. There's so many different channels, but it's like what you're saying. I think that it can sometimes create a lot of white noise. It can sometimes create too, like, almost overwhelming with all the lines of communication that you can have, and that can sometimes overwhelm people to the point where, like, they just shut down. You've got obviously social media, you've got Zoom, like email, WhatsApp, and text, and all these different ways of still being connected. Yeah. But it can sometimes be a bit much, and I think that's one of the things that stuck out for me with Men in the Hill. It's just hopping on a Zoom call and just having a bit of a chat and not overcomplicating anything.
It's a lot more personal, and it helps a lot more.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely key. Is having it just dead simple, really simple. Just a bunch of lads just sort of hopping on a call. Really, really appeals. Really appeals. But I just think that, I don't want to, try and say that, we want to end up being a, mental health worker or advisor or anything like that. But what I'm really keen on doing is how do we get people comfortable enough, even just to hop on? Because I know that sometimes, I've had anxiety in the past before where it's crippling, and you just wouldn't jump on these calls, even just to sit on them, even just not even. I don't even care if someone shares or not. Like, if just hopping on and just listening to us talk about stuff, I think it'd be really, really helpful, and then coach people out. But I just don't. I'm still kind of fighting with myself internally as to how do we do that? How do we create the level of
just keep
comfort for people?
Keep inviting them, and eventually they'll come.
Yeah.
You can't force anybody. Every week, if I speak to people about this, I invite them. If they don't attend, it's not a problem. It's all good. Don't have to be here. I just keep inviting them. When they're ready, they'll come.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, you're putting pressure on them. And this is not about putting pressure on anybody, right? This is about
very true.
Just talking. So I just say, if you want to come. There's an invite.
Yeah. Never put anybody in a corner. I learned that about life. In all forms. Never put anybody in a corner. Always give someone a choice, a way out, if they want to. You don't know.
They asked me afterwards, how was the call? And I say it was great. You should have
came. Yeah, you should have come. Yeah, you should have looked down.
Eventually they'll come.
Yeah. No, for sure. Definitely. Well, like, I'm definitely keen. Like, I think I'm going to do probably my first one back home up in Edinburgh, probably on like a Thursday night, probably.
If you'd like to invite us both, I'm happy. Yeah. I'd be happy to say, look, I'll come on a call just to be there for you and to support this group, because that's what this is all about.
Yeah, no, I'd love that. I think, just I think, I don't want to sort of. I've been chatting to Glen in the background about it, and I don't want to put too much sort of pressure and direction on the calls. Like, I do just want to, get people just jumping on, introducing each other, like sort of getting to know each other initially, and then just see where the conversation flows from then. Maybe give it a slight nudge in the right direction around maybe something I've read or seen or something, or an experience from during the week. But I don't want to put too much sort of push on a direction for the calls. I want them just to, flow a bit more naturally.
Just there, exactly. And the first one we did was just four of us. It was a great call, really was.
Yeah.
Second we did, a whole bunch of guys turned up, and that was equally as in a different way. It was fantastic as well.
Yeah.
The last one was a great call as well.
Last week we had nine or 10 at 9 on the call, wasn't it?
Yeah, but everybody chatted openly, really flowing conversation, and no one's judging anybody. It's all very positive, which is the best thing.
Yeah, definitely. Well, yeah, what I'll do is I'll sort of get Glen to get up a post on the Facebook page, or bang out the information on a text or a WhatsApp or whatever. And obviously, more than welcome for anyone to join and jump on, and because I think I've been sort of putting the word out and letting people know that I'm going to sort of do them back home. So I think that first call is you've always got that first call bit of nerves, right? How many people are you going to get? What's it going to be like, etc. So having a couple of familiar faces would be
having a party with a lot of these people and no one arrives.
Yeah, true. No, and I'm expecting that as well.
Go, I shouldn't have worried.
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, look, like honestly, gents, it was a real pleasure to meet you. Really appreciate you jumping on, and obviously really nice to meet you and just have a bit of a chat. Really, it's the start of our working week over here in Dubai. So on a Sunday, so we get Friday, Saturday off. So it's always good just to start the week off with a bit of a chat as well. So that's why I was thinking, like, you know, Glen does his calls on a Sunday. I was maybe going to do mine on a Thursday, Friday for the end of the week for people. So yeah, great to meet you. Thank you very much. Lovely to meet you, and I'll see you on the next call.
All right, cheers, Connway.
Right, cheers, lads. See you later. Cheers. Bye.
It's only us, Doug. So did you watch the cricket this morning?
Unfortunately.
Oh well, no. Listen. You lose a toss out there, mate. You're in big trouble.
Whole thing's on the toss. Yeah, it's mad.
Oh yeah.
I texted away to a mate of mine. We're both up about sort of 5 or 6 to watch it and stuff. We just text away with each other about what's happening and things. But it is the toss of a coin. But that pitch was deteriorating from day one, wasn't it?
It's not a good pitch compared to the first test. That is not a good pitch.
No, that's a one-day player's pitch kind of thing.
Yeah. Indeed.
But yeah, disappointing.
Oh well, there's another 2 to go after this, so we're all right. It's not all over yet. Okay, Chief.
All right. Good to see you, Jasper.
I'll see you soon.
Yeah. Cheers, old boy.